My distinguished students, once again you are welcome to our lesson series in Math 106. So this lesson topic shall be index numbers. Hope you will enjoy this topic as we go along. Thank you. As you well know, my name is Dr. Adirugbe Anjorin from the Department of Mathematics, Lagos State University. Objectives of this lesson. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to 1. Define index numbers and know their various uses. 2. Know several methods of constructing index numbers. In this lesson, we will introduce you to several types of process called index numbers. This will include price index, product index, composite index, and so many shall be clearly explained. An index number is a percentage ratio of prices, quantities, or values comparing two time periods or 2 points in time. The time period that serves as a basis for the comparison is called the base period, and the period that is compared to the base period is called the given or current period. A price index measures the changes in money value of an item or a group of items over time, whereas a quantity index measures non-monetary value of an item or a group of items over time. An index number that represents a percentage comparison of the number of cars sold in a given month as compared with that of base month in a quantity is a quantity index. A price index represents a comparison of prices between two time periods. And finally, a value index is one that represents a comparison of the total value of production or sales in two time periods without regard to whether the observed difference is as a result of differences in quantity, price, or both. Index numbers are also differentiated according to the number of commodities or products included in the comparison. A simple index, also known as a relative, is a comparison involving only one item, but an index whose calculation is based on several items is known as an aggregate index or composite index. A very famous example is a composite index in the retail price. In the retail price is called index price index, retail price index (RPI), which measures the changes in cost and the item of expenditure of the average household. Index points. The 10 points refer to the difference between the index values in two time periods. If the indices for 210 and 211 for a certain item are 173 and 190 respectively, it will mean that there has been an increase of 9.8%. The base period. The base period, which is starting point of all comparison, always has an index of 100. All index pertaining to the base period have an O as old as subscript, and all those involving the given period have an new subscript. Simple index is given in expression 5.01, and simple quantity index is given in expression 5.02. The expression 5.01 is called simple price index. Composite aggregate index number. This is an index which considers components such as food, alcohol, drink, tobacco, housing. Is an example of composite index. Formula for such index is given by the expression in 5.03. Disadvantages. It ignores the quantities of each item consumed. 2. It ignores the units to which the price refers. Average relative index. To overcome the problem of different units, you consider changes in prices as ratio rather than absolutes, so that all price movements are treated as equally important. Formula. The formula for average price relative index is given by 5.04, where K is the number of goods. Weighted mean of relative index. In the above discussion, the relative importance of each item has not been taken into consideration. Bread is probably more important than soft drink. To compensate for this, you attach a weight to each item so as to reflect its importance. Weighting are assigned to each item as a result of market research to decide about their relative importance. For example, for a simple cost of living index, it will be necessary to find out how much the average person or household spend each week on each item to determine their respective weights. The method of weight has to do with 1. Calculating index relative for each of the components. 2. Using the weights given to obtain a weighted average of the relative formula. Weighted means relative index is given by 5.06, where W is the weight factor and I is the index relative. Construction. When the purpose of the index has been specified, you must make sure that the items selected from the universe of commodities must be fully representative. These items must be very well defined and their values must be easily verifiable. Data must therefore be collected and determine the values of the item and the weights to be assigned to them. For a price index, an actual average of the actual price must be calculated, since price keeps fluctuating from place to place and time to time. It is common practice to use quantities as weights when calculating a price index and use prices as weights when calculating a quantity index. Other difficulties may arise when calculating a cost of living index. For example, it might not be easy to define a typical family. The choice of a base year is made quite easily while taking care that the year is representative and that it was not a period in which price and quantities have extreme values. A base year should be regularly updated in order to reflect patterns of consumption very clearly. In so doing, you prevent actual index number from becoming too large, especially when a base year is outdated. Limitation of index number. 1. Weights may become outdated. 2. A change in item may occur. 3. The data used to calculate index number might be incomplete, outdated, or inactive. No base year is perfectly representative of some particular periods of time. The basket of goods is often selective. A national index is not relevant at the rural or urban levels. An index may exclude important items. Misrepresentation of index number. Rise in prices should be interpreted with respect to the immediate previous time period. A fall in the rate of inflation does not imply a fall in prices. Uses of index number. They are economic barometers. They measure the level of business and economic activities. They measure the relative change in a variable or group of related variables under study. Consumer price indices are useful. Consumer price index are useful in measuring the purchasing power of money, thereby used in compensating the employee in the form of increased allowance. Table. You have the following table. Given the following table, then you are required to obtain. You notice that all the commodities are in different units and their prices are not proportionally enlarged. You cannot get an average for comparison because of this. You express the rate of all commodities to 2000 as 100 each, and proportionally increase the corresponding commodities from the year 2010. You obtain the following table below. You find the average number index for the 2003 to be 134 as against 100 for the year 2000. This implies that the price has gone up by 34% in the year 2000 as against year 2000. Example 4.02. Construct the price index number for the year 2005, taking year 2000 as the base. We have the following table. The calculation is made as below. The summation of the base year is 470 and the new year is 660, and the average value is 140. This implies that the price index for the year 2005 has gone up as against the year 2003 by 40%. Determine the index number for the year 2010, 2011, 2014, taking the year 2000 as the base year, given the table below. This is done in the table as shown here. The price relative for different years are listed in the table. Price prepares in this table. You have to prepare single price index for the data in the table below. Solution. The solution here is on the average you have 174. This implies that the price of this commodity has gone up since the base year gradually. We have another example. Develop using a simple average of price relative method of price index of 2010, taking 2009 as the base year. You have the following table here. The calculation is done in the last column, which is the fourth column. Then the price index for 2000 is 89.2. You have the following activity using the above method we have used to calculate average price index, commodity index. The following summary. Various types of index number have been introduced with examples. Their construction has also been displayed. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to know various types of index numbers, construction of various index numbers, and the advantages and disadvantages of these constructions. You have the following reference which you can also refer to. My distinguished student, I hope you really enjoy the lesson, and if those activities that are given to you are treated, you will have a good understanding of this course. Thank you. Goodbye.